ways, how to spend less time on LinkedIn and generate more leads. Now, I know a lot of people get caught up in spending a lot of time on social media. Look, we're all in business. We all spend a lot of time on social media. We all seem like we don't have enough time in the day. And the truth is, very much like managing your time and other things, you need systems in place for how you spend and how you manage your time on LinkedIn. So today I'm going to give you a couple different ways that you can use to minimize the time you spend on LinkedIn and maximize the ROI that you're getting. So you'll love it. Way number one is operating with intention. Before you even log into LinkedIn, before you even log into any social media, as a matter of fact, you have to understand what your intention is going to be. Why are you doing it? What's your reason for being there, right? It's not really to pass the time, especially on LinkedIn. For most of us, it's to build relationships, it's to build business relationships, to grow our brand, to grow our awareness, and to generate more leads and see that ROI. So you've got to have that intention, right? Every minute, every second that you're spending on LinkedIn has to have that intention to it. And look, if you want to spend time scrolling through the news feed, having some fun, by all means, just let that be your intention for that moment instead of having it happen randomly, sporadically. In other words, yes, schedule edit. Number two, you want to define the amount of time that you're going to spend there on a given day. So give yourself a set amount of time that you're going to be spending on LinkedIn. You want to be able to block off that amount of time. And the key thing is, if you're going to say that you're going to be there 15 minutes, once that clock hits 15 minutes, you're done. You're moving on. You're doing the next thing. So define the amount of time that you're going to spend there without getting suckered in, right? You don't want to be in that reactive state, which brings me to number three, jumboing, as I call it, your messaging and your connection requests. So instead of you reacting to things happening now, happening instantly, that's a quick way to start stressing yourself out, is that responding to every little message or, looking at every little connection request. Look, allocate a certain amount of time. It doesn't even have to be every day that you're going to go through your messaging, that you're going to go through your inbox, your connection request, and spend the time doing it. Rather than doing it sporadically throughout the day, just do it all at once. Trust me, it's a lot faster, especially for handling connection requests. Now, I know there's always exceptions, and if you have somebody who's a potential lead or if you're having a conversation, but by all means, at that point, spend time actually on the messenger, chatting with them, just like you'd be having a phone conversation. That's generally the best rule of thumb. And look, if they get offended that it takes you 3 hours to reply, they can wait. You've got to make your time a priority and not let social media, especially LinkedIn, run your life and your business. That's a key thing. I think that's a really big concept for you to start to understand. Fourth thing, you want to plan your post in advance. So a lot of people, first of all, when it comes to posting on social media, and when it comes to posting on LinkedIn, there's a lot of questions. You want to make sure that you're planning your post in advance. And I'm not talking about using scheduling apps. So there's scheduling apps out there. There's things like Hootsuite, MeetEdgar, different tools where you can schedule your post in advance. And I don't recommend doing that on LinkedIn. The reason is LinkedIn will pick that up. So LinkedIn is very good at sensing if the post was programmed. It'll penalize you for it oftentimes. The algorithm will actually penalize you for it. However, I don't recommend just shooting from the hip either. I recommend planning everything out. So here's the system for doing it. What you want to do is, depending on your strategy, so let's take a step back and you have to understand what your strategy and your intention is, right? So depending on your strategy, if you don't have your strategy dialed in, that's really the first step here. Once you have that dialed in though, the key thing for you to do is to spend, an hour a week, 2 hours a week, however long it takes you, or have your team spend that time and have stuff that you're going to post on a given day. So if you're going to post something on a Monday, that's Monday's post, and on Monday, you or your team just copies and pastes that and puts that into LinkedIn. Same thing for other days of the week that you're going to be posting. So you want to make sure that you plan your posts in advance, that they're part of your overall marketing efforts. That's key, right? You want posts that not only get you that brand awareness, to get you those extra touch points, you also want posts that are actually going to help you move potential clients along, increase that awareness, right, and get them moving forward in your marketing process. So make sure that your posts are planned, make sure that you have those posts planned in advance. And what I like to do is I like to use a Google document. You can use a spreadsheet as well, whatever, or even a calendar, right? I personally don't like to use calendars, but you can use that sort of document and actually be able to just copy and paste so that when you wake up on a Wednesday morning, last thing that you want to be thinking about is what to post on LinkedIn. What you can do instead is Control-C, Control-V, plug that in, have your post ready to go, and that way you're all set. So just to wrap up, this is how to spend less time on LinkedIn and generate more leads while doing it. First thing you got to do, you got to have your intention, right? You got to understand your strategy, why you're doing it, why it's important, why it's even worth spending that time in the first place. Second thing, you want to define the amount of time on LinkedIn that you're going to use, right? How much time you're going to spend that day and allocate a block of time for LinkedIn. Third thing, you want to make sure that you're jumboing the way that you respond to messaging, jumboing the way that you respond to connection requests, right? And that's key thing, putting all that in one time block rather than doing it sporadically throughout the day, so that way you're not playing catch up and you get to take back control. Really key there. And the fourth and final thing, plan your posts in advance, have them planned out, have them be part of your bigger marketing picture, and at the same time, don't use those scheduling apps. Just take the time, have your team take the time to plan them out. That way you're not scrambling and trying to figure out what's best.